Greetings, folks. This is Dr. Joe Tatey coming to you on behalf of Business Ethics, PH 362, Sections A and Section B. Thanks to the Department of Philosophy and Theology here at St. Mary's University of Minnesota. Just a point of reference for those of you, we're not SMU. That marketing people will tell you SMU is a wonderful school in Texas with an awesome football team. Has nothing to do with Southern Methodist University. We are St. Mary's University of Minnesota. So I just think it's incumbent on us always to avoid that SMU marketing mistake. Since this class is called Business Ethics, I like to start with that. Another thing that I like to start with, you can see behind me the cross. This St. Mary's is affiliated with the LaSallian Christian Brothers, so I like to start all of my sections, especially in business ethics. You can't be intolerant toward religion in the 21st century professional world you're all going to inhabit. You don't have to accommodate it explicitly, but you can't be ignorant of it or derisive of it. So I'll begin this class in the way that I begin all my classes. Let's remember that we're in the holy presence of God is the usual response. And if you're an atheist like my friend at the Dalai Lama, who is a Buddhist and has a scriptural tradition, but they are generally atheist in relation to the question of a personal God. During this time, what a Buddhist would do when a Catholic or when a Christian or when a Jew or when a Muslim or a devout Jain or a devout Hindu practitioner invites you to some kind of form of prayer, let's keep it wide, you should just politely do what I think the Dalai Lama would do as a very professional thing. Start to package up all the things that are bothering you from the emotional life of the day, the pathos. Box those up. Come into the room where you're at now to the degree that you can. You can't always put everything at bay. But start to release yourself from the control of what's behind you. Also, there's often fears projected out in front of us about our future. So a good Buddhist will renounce the future and the past in order to come into the present moment. So that's a great opportunity when someone's offering prayer that you don't like or agree with. Why not practice what my friend the atheist Dalai Lama, when we're praying, you can practice coming into the presence of this very space and time. And that tends to improve your performance, even professional performance. So I'll begin. Let us remember that we're in the holy presence of God. St. John Baptiste de La Salle, Catholics and Christians and whoever, people of goodwill who want to respond can say amen. St. John Baptiste de La Salle, pray for us and then live Jesus in our hearts forever. It's called call and response prayer. It's typical to a lot of Christian denominations, and we are a Catholic and LaSallian school. And so that gives me the launching pad into why we have an interdisciplinary class for general education called PH 362, which is business ethics. Right up front, let's get clear that this is not business morality. Morality has rules and rights and wrongs and answers, where ethics does not. Morality has one way, which can be right always, everywhere, anytime. Ethics has an S at the end. It's always indicating a plurality. Definitely good and capital G good and God and small g gods and goods with a small g and goods with a capital G and God with a capital G and gods with a capital G and good with a small g. All of them. Evil, same permutations. When we're talking about ethics, you're going to find at least three ways, never one. So that's the difference between ethics and morality. So this class is not business morality. I'm not here to lecture you about what's right. We're going to enact what's called shared inquiry repeatedly. And that's going to be shown up in several core practices that I want to outline right away. And these are just, I think, most simple. I'm going to start with the black and red itself, because this is the primitive way that this class qualifies as a makerspace. One of the things about labor, about work, about business, is that it's involved with production. In this class, you're going to produce a manuscript, an artifact that's going to be a repository of your core practices. So anytime that you're doing work for Tatey in this class, you're opening this black and red, which you've quickly put your name and your contact information into. And as I have done here, this one in particular started on 1/11/23, and I was making notes about what was happening right in front of me at that time. I'm picking up here today. It is, if I'm going to do this black and red work, which is going to be anytime you're working for Tatey, whether it's interviewing one of your colleagues, looking something up on AI, looking something up in Wikipedia, looking something up in the Stanford Encyclopedia, getting ready to present something on LinkedIn. You're using this practice, 6 January 24, and it is currently 3:30 p.m. Great, and now I begin a process of differentiating the black and red. I'm going to do this quickly. There is a front to the black and red, and there is a back to the black and red. In the front, you're tracking two things very simply. If you make a T here, you could say that you're tracking facts and values. What I'm asking you to learn about, let's say it's Aristotle, Kant, and Mill. Those are the three disciplinary experts, the three ethics experts that we're going to explore. Because there's always more than, it's not business morality, there's not just one way from a Bible or a scripture. There's at least three ways. And one way is Aristotle, the other way is Kant, and the other way is Mill that we're going to discuss in this class. So let's say you're learning some facts about Aristotle and his view of ethics. Great. As you're reading, you're making some general notes, no matter what your source or your authority. And then as you're listening to some podcast, as you're engaging a Wikipedia article, as you're engaging the Stanford Encyclopedia about Aristotle, you're watching some YouTube crash course video, whatever it is that you're doing, you're gathering data about Aristotle, you're tracking in handwritten notes, not direct summaries, just capturing key points. And then suddenly in that video, you hear or see a data point that reminds you of something that you heard in Lawrence Price's business law class. So then you make an idiotic leap. You're combating your ignorance. You're learning about Aristotle from whatever source it is. You're capturing some notes as you're going along. That's reducing your ignorance about Aristotle. And then you make an idiotic move. Idiotic is not a negative term for Tatey. It's a positive term. Only you, through reflection, as you're reading Aristotle, can make that connection to Lawrence Price's B-Law class, to Shelley McCollum's Principles of Management course, to Derek Jackson's advanced accounting class, to any other academic logos-based. So we have pathos, that's our feelings about things. In ethics, we don't care about that like we don't care about morality. We just care about intellectual reflection. We're letting Aristotle, Kant, and Mill be our chief authorities. And you're going to achieve a handwritten set of notes that shows that you've been reading and taking in data about Aristotle, reflecting on it, and coming up with connections to other intellectual coursework you've pursued. So that's how you're tracking facts and making values. Okay? That's awesome. That's the front of the black and red. The back of the black and red, that's where you display your idiocy, your ability to think between disciplines, interdisciplinarily. You're at a small liberal arts Catholic college in the Lasallian tradition. So in the back, there's a front to the black and red. There's also a back to the black and red. The back is where you you track your ignorance reduction efforts. Why? How? How are you going to directly reduce ignorance? Times that you hear a word that you didn't know, that you hear a concept that you've never heard in any academic class and you haven't bothered to learn on your own. No fault of yours. Your ignorance is just yours. So let's say that I want to, by the end of reading my opening document on the Canvas page, you will have at least encountered the words implicit, explicit. If you don't know the definition of those words, this class and this portion of the black and red is your salvation. This is where you track that you're absolutely learning things by writing words and their definitions. And then you give very proof in handwriting, in a makerspace kind of way, in a primitive, hands-on, with your own hand. You're proving that you deserve points for this class because you are learning new language. Even in business, especially in business, a critical core practice. Learning new language and tracking it in the back is only going to enhance your chance of remembering these words and their meanings. So, you're going to reduce your ignorance and you're going to increase your idiocy in the front, because you're going to be encountering facts about Aristotle. You're going to be encountering facts about Kant. You're going to be encountering facts and tracking them about John Stuart Mill. And then you're going to have interdisciplinary insights, idiotic interdisciplinary insights that connect this to that. I don't want to hear about your experiences in life. I don't want to hear about your faith experiences. That's for other venues. This is for academic reflection between disciplines, between courses, between experts. Okay? So we've got that straightened out. Core practice. You're going to be encountering data, writing, timestamping data, tracking data, making connections, interpreting that data through a lens of interdisciplinary activity, and then you're going to engage sometimes in professional conversation with classmates. And that's going to happen in what's called a think, pair, share. The think, pair, share is that you jump on a Zoom call, one party records that call, and you carry out a conversation about Aristotle, about Kant, about Mill. And what are you sharing? You're sharing that when you encountered the word eudaimonia in Aristotle, you realized that had a direct relationship to an idea that Lawrence Price was teaching when he was talking about Aristotle's sense of natural law. Cool. Look at that. Just this thing in one area reminded me of something in another area. I report that to the other person on the Zoom call. They report their discovery to me, and then the person who's recording saves the recording, and you dump it up to your G folder and tell Tatey that it's there. And then I get to review all the YouTube videos of your conversations. So you're going to be practicing reflection in a written, documented format, an analog, primitive makerspace. You're going to be holding professional conversations that are captured and then shared digitally with Tatey through Zoom. You're going to have done a little bit of disciplinary research, but every time you're doing that into Aristotle, into Kant, and into Mill, but as you do that, you're going to be engaging AI explicitly, not only to initiate the inquiry, but even after you've entered the inquiry more deeply. So we'll talk a lot more about how you're going to show that you're AI forward and AI engaged. And the last aspect of the core practices that Tatey expects, because this is a class that's offered with the word business in it, you will have a digital identity that will be traceable through an app called LinkedIn. So neither of us has to continue with the relationship once this semester is over, but it's a de facto requirement that you should adopt a digital persona on LinkedIn. If you need to use a pseudonym for whatever reason, talk to me independently through email and put header urgent, need for discretion on LinkedIn use. Okay, I'll happily field those. Okay, I'm feeling good that I feel bad that I've gone over 10 minutes. I was going to try to keep it at 10, but I'm going to review everything one more quick time, and then I'll edit this if I have to. So this is Business Ethics, PH3 62A and B for Spring 25. You can expect and you need to acquire this black and red notebook as quickly as possible. It's a primitive makerspace where you track its two parts. It has the front and the back. We're tracking facts about Aristotle, Kant, and Mill, and relating it to values, to interpreting that data to other courses and experts that expert content that we've encountered. So we're using our logos. We're avoiding our pathos about this. And we're growing our sense of ethos about ethics by learning that ethics always has an S, involves us with plurality, and at least 3 ways of answering any given dilemma or question that we're trying to ask in the field of ethics. The core practices that I'm going to expect is that you're doing reflection interdisciplinarily, or what I called idiotically in the front of the black and red. As you're learning about Aristotle, you think about some other class. You have an idiotic or interdisciplinary or totally unique that can never be done by an AI because it's relating to your intellectual experience. holding professional conversations with your colleagues in a Zoom setting, and I'm hoping for professional demeanor there, kind of like mini exercises of strategies, not so formally dressed up because strategies is very formal, but informal dress and proper use of backdrops in the Zoom call. And then that's recorded, so that gives us a multimedia savvy. We're going to be doing some disciplinary AI-initiated and AI-assisted inquiry into who are Aristotle Cotton Mill. And then we're going to have exercise of a practice called LinkedIn. We're going to have it. We're going to have a headshot. We're going to have a unique banner in the backdrop. We're actually going to make posts, not things that are done. We drop the posts where we say, because I'm being forced to do this by a teacher in a class, here's a post about X, Y, and Z. Natural posts from areas that you claim to be taking an interest in. So if you're an accounting major, from the world of accounting, what counts as breaking news in that world. You're responsible to show that you're the kind of person who adds not only himself or herself or themselves horizontally through friends, family, and etc., but rather also vertically by joining groups and by following thought leaders who you recognize as leaders in the areas that you intend to be a professional functioning in. I'm here to tell you as a Gen X person, I hate using LinkedIn. I don't like using LinkedIn, but I do it for professional purposes. And it does have professional outcomes. I'll tell some stories later in this semester about that. So add groups in accounting if you're an accounting major. Add groups in finance if you're a finance major. Add groups in business intelligence if you claim to be a BI person. And follow thought leaders and pay attention to their posts. Differentiate yourself. Boomers and Xers doing hiring hate LinkedIn but know we have to use it. If you're a Gen Z person or a millennial or a Gen Alpha, whatever you are, and you won't use LinkedIn more expertly than I'm afraid you're not going to be getting a job with me anyway. So pay attention that tool, no matter how much you dislike it for moral or aesthetic reasons, it might have a professional or an ethical value that at least you're going to practice for Tatey during this semester. All right, I look forward to engaging you more further down the line. I'll send out your first assignment in an announcement a little bit later after this video. Thanks, folks. Welcome to the class. I look forward to it.